Welcome back, my little philosopher friends, to another episode of the Sleepy Philosopher. Come to find out there's a lot more people who need a good night's sleep than just babies. If you're like me, then when your head hits the pillow, you start thinking about all those big questions. Why are we here? What was the point of that? And what would life be like if I ruled Rome? Now, I don't have the answers to those questions, but I can put you right in the middle of ancient Rome, at the peak of its power. So let's just take a day in the life of Roman Emperor Julius Caesar. It's early morning, and the sun is just beginning to creep over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange. In the distance, you can hear the rooster crowing and the bleating of sheep from the nearby farm. But here in the great city of Rome, the day is already well underway. Merchants are unpacking their wares, slaves are making their way to the market, and politicians are heading to the Forum, the bustling center of Roman life. The Forum is a hive of activity. The Senate is in session, so toga-clad men from all walks of life are making their way to the Basilica. Among them is Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome. He is accompanied by his wife, Cleopatra, and a small entourage of friends and advisors. Caesar is a tall, imposing figure with a thick white beard and a steely gaze. His toga is fastened with a golden brooch, and his sandals are made of the finest leather. Despite his immense power, he is dressed in the same way as any other Roman senator. For Caesar is a firm believer in the idea that the emperor should not be above the common man. He believes that he is just one of the people, even though he knows perfectly well that he isn't. As Caesar makes his way through the crowd, he is greeted by adoring fans and petitioners seeking his help. He listens patiently to their pleas and offers words of comfort and encouragement. Though he is often too busy to grant their requests, Caesar takes his role as emperor seriously. He knows that he is responsible for the safety and well-being of Rome and its citizens. As he approaches the Basilica, he is met by a group of conspirators who whisper in his ear that today is the Ides of March, a date that is said to be unlucky for rulers. Caesar laughs off their concerns and enters the Senate. The Senate is a place of great debate and discussion. Senators from all over the empire are there to voice their opinions on matters of state. However, no one dares to speak out against Caesar. They know that he is a powerful ruler and they fear his wrath. Caesar presides over the Senate with an iron fist. Though he is not a tyrant, he understands the importance of keeping the Senate happy, so that they will support him in his endeavors. He also knows that the Senate is a hotbed of intrigue and backstabbing, and he is always aware of the possibility of a coup. After the Senate, Caesar heads to the Colosseum. It is time for the afternoon spectacle. The Colosseum is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Rome. Thousands of people come from all over the empire to see the gladiators do battle in the arena. Caesar is no exception. He loves to watch the gladiators fight to the death, and he is particularly fond of the chariot races. Today, Caesar decides to throw a feast in his honor. He invites all of his friends and family, as well as some of the most important senators in Rome. The feast is held in the Palace of the Caesars, which is the largest and most luxurious palace in the city. The palace is decorated with gold and silver, and the walls are covered with paintings depicting scenes from Roman mythology. Caesar sits at the head of the table, and his wife Cleopatra sits to his right. The food is served on golden plates, and the wine is poured into silver goblets. There is music and dancing, and the party goes on late into the night. Now, you might think that this sounds like a pretty fun way to spend an evening, but Caesar is not really enjoying himself. He is constantly aware of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. He knows that there are people in Rome who would be only too happy to see him dead. While Caesar is partying it up, a group of senators are meeting in secret. They are plotting to assassinate Caesar and take control of the empire. They believe that Caesar has become too powerful and that he is a threat to the Republic. They also believe that he is corrupt and that he uses his power for his own benefit. They decide that the best way to get rid of Caesar is to kill him, so they plan to attack him on the Ides of March, a date that is said to be unlucky for rulers. Caesar is warned of the plot against his life, but he ignores it. He is too busy enjoying the pleasures of Rome to worry about a bunch of senators trying to kill him. He knows that he is the most powerful man in Rome, and he believes that nothing can happen to him. On the Ides of March, Caesar is surrounded by his friends and bodyguards as he makes his way through the streets of Rome. But the conspirators are waiting for him. As soon as he enters the Senate, they pounce. They stab Caesar over and over again, and he falls to the ground mortally wounded. Caesar's body is carried back to the palace, and his wife Cleopatra is informed of his death. She is distraught, but she knows that she must be strong. She is the queen of the Nile, and she cannot afford to break down. She takes charge of the situation and begins planning Caesar's funeral. As news of Caesar's assassination spreads throughout Rome, the city erupts in chaos. People are running through the streets, screaming and looting. The conspirators thought that they would be welcomed as heroes, but they are wrong. The people of Rome love Caesar, and they are furious when they learn how he has been murdered. The conspirators try to flee, but they are caught and killed. The funeral procession for Caesar is one of the most extravagant in Roman history. His body is placed in a golden coffin and carried through the streets on a chariot. The people of Rome line the streets, and they weep as they say goodbye to their beloved emperor. When Cleopatra sees the outpouring of grief, she knows that she must do everything she can to honor Caesar's memory. She begins planning an elaborate memorial to him, and she commissions a statue to be made in his likeness. The statue is placed in a prominent position in the forum, and it becomes a symbol of Caesar's power and glory. Rome is in mourning, but Cleopatra knows that she must be strong for the sake of her sons. She is pregnant with Caesar's child, and she knows that she must give birth to a healthy baby in order to carry on Caesar's legacy. She takes solace in the fact that Caesar's spirit will live on in his son, and she is determined to raise Caesarion to be the kind of leader that his father was. So there you have it, a day in the life of Julius Caesar, a man who had it all: power, glory, wealth, and yet he was not content. A man who was willing to risk it all for more power, and in the end, lost it all. A cautionary tale for all of us who strive for greatness. And that's our story for tonight. Little philosophers, I hope you enjoyed coming along with Caesar for a day in the life of ancient Rome. Remember, the greatest empires and leaders are not without their flaws, and even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a new dawn. Don't forget to hit the like button before you go. It really helps us out and keeps us on the algorithm's good side. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you here within the community. And now it's time for bed. Sweet dreams, little philosophers. May your nights be filled with peaceful slumber and your days with endless curiosity. Until next time, keep asking questions and never stop exploring the world around you. Good night.